back for possibly the last time for a few years. The German Grand Prix on Friday delivered us with some exciting practice. Welcome to the German Grand Prix. Let's take a look at the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship coming in to round 11. So after two classic races in Austria and Great Britain, we move on to Germany, more specifically the Hockenheim Ring, for the first back-to-back German Grand Prix in years. After this weekend, we go to Hungary before the midsummer break, and then we head off to Belgium on the 30th to the 1st of September. Then we go to Italy for the last of the European races before Singapore, Russia, Japan as the flyaways, the America races in Mexico, United States and Brazil, and wrapping up the season in the United Arab Emirates for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton leads the title, 39 points clear of his teammate Valtteri Bottas, a staggering lead. Max Verstappen is third, he is well clear now of Sebastian Vettel. Charles Leclerc in fifth is just 3 points off of Sebastian Vettel. Gasly is sixth, Sainz seventh, Raikkonen eighth, Lando Norris is ninth, and Daniel Ricciardo rounds out the top 10. And yet to score any points still this year, George Russell and Robert Kubica. In terms of the Constructors' Championship, Mercedes are dominating, 407 points to Ferrari's 243. It's now between Ferrari and Red Bull for second place in the trophy. McLaren, after a dominating few races, are up into fourth place in the Constructors' Championship, their highest since 2012. Renault are fifth, they are battling with Alfa Romeo. Racing Point, Toro Rosso and Haas still at the back in the midfield teams, and Williams still with no points on the board. Hello everybody and welcome to the Friday practice review then for the 2019 German Grand Prix. And it seems like all of my predictions yesterday were right. Ferrari were top, Leclerc ahead of Vettel. Mercedes did struggle due to the heat, and McLaren were surprising. Well, that certainly was 1, 2 and 3 predictions right. I should do the lottery more often. Let's get on to the first practice report then of the German Grand Prix. Got underway, fierce heat on Friday in Germany, 40-degree temperature in the morning session as well, 0% chance of rain, not even a cloud in the sky as the session got underway. It was Sebastian Vettel who topped the first session at 1:14.013, Leclerc second, Hamilton third, Verstappen fourth and Bottas in fifth place overall. It was a Vettel, it was a positive start to a weekend to which he really needs it, because last year, of course, he crashed out in the race at the Satch Curve in raining conditions. So a positive start to the place where he lost the title last year was key, and especially of rumours starting to fly that Vettel might not even be at Ferrari next year amid the silly season has already started. But as I said, he was quicker than Leclerc in the first session, 0.3 faster than championship leader of Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton running in a special white livery, the same as Valtteri Bottas, to celebrate Mercedes' 125th anniversary since their first race, along with their 200th Grand Prix start. And another factor is that this is the Mercedes-Benz Grand Prix of Germany, so they are the sponsor, and Ferrari were dominant in both sessions with a 1-2. Egg on their face at the moment for Mercedes. Max Verstappen was P4 for Red Bull, the team appearing to lack pace compared to their other top three rivals in the early part of the running. Finished 0.3 off of Vettel's time on the soft rubber. Bottas P5 in the second white silver Mercedes. A low speed moment though at the end of the session saw him go off comically where Sebastian Vettel went off last year at the Satch Curve, put it in the gravel, but Bottas was able to get out. Of course, with it being dry, the gravel was bed down, could easily get out. Haas aiming to have a productive Friday. The team set to run three different aerodynamic specs over free practice 1 and 2. In FP1, Kevin Magnussen pulled up and caused a red flag because a sensor issue brought the car to a halt. He was able to get back out there after 5 minutes. He ended up P13 overall. Perhaps disappointing for Haas though, Grosjean was able to lap over 0.7 faster than his teammate overall and ended up 8th overall. Lance Stroll was the big surprise of the session. 9th overall for Racing Point, with some new upgrades that they desperately needed after a terrible start to the year. He was P9. Grosjean rounded out the top 10. Ricciardo going through a little spin through the first corner during the last few minutes, ended up in 11th, and Sainz as well in 12th. Tough session for Toro Rosso and for Alfa Romeo. Dani Kvyat, the former best runner in P14, 1,000th ahead of his teammate Alexander Albon, while the Alphas lined up 17th and 18th, and 2 seconds off the pace. Bringing it up the rear were the two Williamses of Robert Kubica and George Russell, as they have some engine developments here this weekend. Let's take a look at the times from FP1. So Sebastian Vettel topped the first practice session at the German Grand Prix. On home soil he managed a 1:14.013. Charles Leclerc was second at 1:14.268. Lewis Hamilton third at 1:14.315. Max Verstappen fourth on a 1:14.330. Valtteri Bottas in fifth place at 1:14.660. Pierre Gasly 6th at 1:14.813. 7th for Carlos Sainz at 1:15.062. 8th for Grosjean on a 1:15.074. Lance Stroll in 9th at 1:15.190. And 10th place for Daniel Ricciardo at 1:15.567. Sergio Perez 11th at 1:15.604. Lando Norris is 12th on a 1:15.616. 13th for Kevin Magnussen at 1:15.759. Dani Kvyat was in 14th on a 1:15.776. 15th for Alexander Albon at 1:15.777. 1,000th off his teammate. Nico Hülkenberg 16th at 1:15.823. 17th for Kimi Räikkönen at 1:15.953. 18th for Giovinazzi at 1:16.382. Kubica 19th at 1:16.559. And George Russell in 20th at 1:17.126. So on to free practice 2 then for the German Grand Prix. And in Mercedes' own Grand Prix, it's Ferrari who dominated Friday's running. They were fastest in free practice 1 with Vettel ahead of Leclerc, but in FP2, Leclerc ahead of Vettel, just like I predicted yesterday in the preview show. A 1:13.449 for Leclerc. Vettel was 0.124 seconds off. Hamilton third, Bottas fourth, and Verstappen went into 5th place. The heat wave continued into the afternoon, but temperatures dropped a little bit as rain predicted in the late afternoon meant that the clouds were beginning to draw in, so only 35 degrees for the second session. But with rain predicted for qualifying and practice 3 tomorrow and for race day, this session was pretty much the only representative dry running they'll have for the remainder of the weekend as well. So this session was upgrade time for every team. They had new development packages to test and everything. But Ferrari, an impressive pace as well. They were fastest overall and the softest of the Pirelli tyres. First, Vettel headed the times, and Leclerc, despite not going faster in any of the 3 sectors and encountering traffic in the stadium sector, he went a 10th of a second quicker. Hamilton was fastest in the final sector, but ended up 3rd overall. Bottas as well, scrappy and made a mistake on his qualifying simulation. He was half a second off of Hamilton. As we move on, the mixed fortunes for Red Bull. Verstappen, once again their quickest driver, getting into P5. But unfortunately for Pierre Gasly, struggled throughout the session, and it resulted in him crashing coming into the last corner of the Nord curve and ripping off the front left-hand side of the suspension. He was put out of the session with about half an hour to go, and really it's just another miserable blow for Pierre Gasly. Haas have had a miserable time too lately. Failed to score points in each of the last 4 races. With that in mind, they have opted to split their running. Grosjean running the Australia spec car, so wiping out everything they did this season, going right back to what they had in pre-season testing in Australia, which they were quick there with. But Kevin Magnussen has the latest upgrade package. They're going to decide which is stronger and go for that for the rest of the weekend. However, Grosjean was the fastest. He was 6th and Magnussen down in 18th. So what does that tell you? Racing Point also had a new upgrade package. Their bodywork different this weekend as well. 10th for Perez as well. Stroll 7th. 8/10 off of 8/10 a gap between him and Perez. So great job from Lance Stroll. Maybe he can finally get out of qualifying 1 for the first time in 15 Grand Prix. Hülkenberg completed the rundown of the top 10. Sainz had a brake pedal failure in the closing stages. Having gone wide in turn 6, he was P11, 1.2 seconds off the pace and 4/10 quicker than McLaren's teammate Lando Norris as well. And wrapping up the back was the 2 Williamses, Russell ahead of Kubica. Let's take a look at the times then from free practice 2. So Charles Leclerc was top in the second practice session, then a 1:13.449. Second place went to Sebastian Vettel, a 1:13.573. Lewis Hamilton third, a 1:13.595. Valtteri Bottas fourth, a 1:14.111. Fifth place for Max Verstappen, a 1:14.133. Sixth for Romain Grosjean, a 1:14.179. Seventh for Lance Stroll, a 1:14.268. Kimi Raikkonen in eighth, a 1:14.458. Ninth for Hülkenberg on a 1:14.472. And 10th for Sergio Perez, a 1:14.518. Let's hope that it is good fortunes for Racing Point, both drivers in the top 10. 11th for Carlos Sainz, a 1:14.662. Danny Kvyat is 12th, a 1:14.8. Ricciardo 13th on a 1:15.010. Alexander Albon 14th, a 1:15.062. Pierre Gasly 15th and causing a red flag, 1:15.8089. Next up, we've got Lando Norris in 16th, a 1:15.247. Giovinazzi is 17th, 1:15.406. Magnussen is 18th, 1:15.470. Russell 19th, 1:16.9. And 1:16.980 for Robert Kubica. Let's take a look at the weather guide then for this weekend. Well, Saturday, thunderstorms. It is going to be absolutely chucking it down at the Hockenheim Ring. Highest at 31 degrees, the lowest at 20. Humidity 51%. FP3's chance of rain is 20%. Qualifying's 34. That was when I wrote the script. Looked at it about 5 minutes ago. It's now an 80% chance of rain during free practice 3 and a 90% chance of rain during qualifying. So it looks like we're going to have a wet quali. Race day, rain still at 69% as well. Highest at 24 degrees, lowest at 17. So that should favour Mercedes coming back into the frame without hot conditions. So maybe Ferrari's edge is just because of the heat. Saturday predictions then. Well, if it's wet, you've got to count in the fact that Hamilton and Verstappen are quick here, so I'm going to go Verstappen might get pole if it's wet, because of course it's still going to be humid, and that affects the Mercedes, and we know that Vettel and Leclerc aren't good in the rain. So I'm going to go for Verstappen on pole for the first time. Let's see if I'm right. But we'll be back with the Saturday practice review tomorrow at 1:30. The race preview on Sundays at 1 o'clock. And the grand review is at 8 o'clock on Monday as well. So the early signs are positive for Ferrari. Mercedes go back to the hotel tonight, thinking of a way they can get back at their championship rivals. At their home Grand Prix and the title sponsor, Ferrari's name is dominant, not Mercedes. Join us tomorrow for practice 3. Bye for now.